Are you ready for rapid fire?
Let's go, baby.
Let's do it.
It's time. We hit that 1 hour mark. Boom. Time for rapid fire. Let's do it.
So I saw this referenced earlier. Notre Dame's last Heisman Trophy winner, Tim Brown, had a lot to say this weekend about Tommy Rees and the work he did as Notre Dame's offensive coordinator. So here's what Tim Brown had to say. He tweeted out 3 long tweets on this. This is a great day for Irish football and maybe even a better day for Tommy Rees. I've been around a lot of defenses, but the Irish offense last year, with maybe the exception of the North Carolina game, was extremely predictable. Seeing the offense struggle told me at least 2 things. 1, Tommy was very dependent on Kelly, and more important, he didn't have the ability to dissect a defense. What we saw is what I call hero ball. You have a player, Mayer, who is better than the person covering, and you throw him the ball a zillion times. Make him the hero. If that doesn't work, you lose. I was at a couple games where it took everything in me not to go knock on the booth window and say, give me the call sheet. LOL. I truly wish him well. He's going to need it. Let's go Irish. So that is from Tim Brown, Hall of Famer. Buy or sell what Tim Brown is dishing out there.
Look, I buy it from the fact that he can say whatever he wants. I have
very good point.
I have no problem.
He's a Hall of Famer. Who the hell are we, right?
I mean, and he's the last Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Notre Dame.
That's right.
Right? You can say whatever you want, man. I have zero problem with that. There's bits and pieces that I agree with, right? I can't say that he can't dissect a defense. You know, I don't believe that. You know, were some things predictable? Yeah, no doubt about that. But at the same time, he was trying to be nice at first. He was saying, you know, this is great for Tommy Rees. This is great for Notre Dame. And then he kind of went in the weeds there a little bit. So I don't agree with everything that he said, obviously. But he's entitled to his opinion. I have no problem with him putting it out there. Zero problem.
Oh, I have no problem with him putting it out there as well. You know, the funny thing was he says at least 2 things. And then he goes, 1, Tommy was very dependent on Kelly and da-da-da-da-da. There is no number 2 in this series of tweets. He's got 3 long tweets. He says there's 2 things, but there's only a number 1. There is no number 2 in there. So, you know, I thought that was a little bit odd. The hero ball, I agree with what Derek is saying. I don't buy the hero ball part. I don't put that on Tommy Rees. I put that on an inexperienced quarterback who locked in on Michael Mayer too much, you know, and he spent a lot of time with Michael Mayer after practice, and that's great. I think that between the fact that you're going to have a new offensive coordinator and you're going to have a new quarterback and you have no, you know, as great as Michael Mayer is, you know, I've said this before, I think the offense is going to be a heck of a lot more diverse going forward because you don't have that safety net. And that's what it was. It was just a safety net. I don't think it was hero ball necessarily. Now, I do think, you know, whether or not Tommy was dependent on Brian Kelly, I think that there were Brian Kelly tendencies that Tommy Rees had that we sort of assumed after watching the Fiesta Bowl last year were going to be gone, but that didn't come to fruition, you know? So I think that there are definitely tentacles back to Brian Kelly that Tommy Rees has, you know, and so that's the biggest thing to me. Now, Tim Brown can say whatever he wants to say. I mean, any of us can say whatever he wants to say, but Tim Brown's got even more clout with it because he's Tim freaking Brown, you know, so go for it. Go for it.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I think that, you know, he was trying to walk the line a little bit. I think Stymie Snerdley, he says, kudos for waiting until Tommy left before airing his beef, I guess. Now step up and be part of the solution. You know, and it's good that he's not calling out coaches while they're still employed at Notre Dame. I do give him credit for that.
Very true.
You know, and obviously he wasn't happy, but he didn't sound terribly pissed off. Like, it was just, hey, this is a great opportunity for Notre Dame. And I agree. It is a great opportunity for Notre Dame.
Yeah. I completely agree. All right. Now, okay. So I didn't see the response to Golick Jr. Maybe I need to look that up here real quick. Have you seen that?
I have not, but I'm sure Golick came to the defense.
Well, I was going to say, I saw people right away saying, oh, I can't wait till Golick Jr. sees this, because he's obviously been a pretty staunch Tommy supporter.
I think they were roommates at one point, so no surprise there.
Yeah, we will. Chi-Town we'll mention Pro Bowl weekend here in a minute. It's part of rapid fire. I can guarantee you that. So
yeah.
Fill in the blank. It's blank that Sam Hartman tweeted video of himself working out with his teammates at the Goog this weekend.
The sign of an intelligent, mature person. That's what it is to me, because he's not going to, get out there and get in like a Twitter debate with people or do anything. He's just going to put out a video of him working hard with a pretty solid phrase on the back of his jersey or back of his t-shirt. And there it is. Boom. Back to work. It was just enough to quiet people down. And I thought it was fantastic. I think it showed, what is he, 24, 20, 27? I don't know. He's old. And I think it shows how mature he is, because it's just, hey, here it is. I'm working hard. I'm putting in the work. Let's go.
And that's, I think it was basically, and I think what D-Rock is kind of saying, he's basically saying, I'm here. All these people freaking out is Sam Hartman going to follow Tommy Rees down to Alabama and all that kind of stuff. And he didn't have to say a word. All he had to do was tweet a picture of himself in the Goog with a Notre Dame shirt on, and you knew where he was, and you saw a teammate or two, working out with him. And he's like, I'm here. I'm getting ready for the season now. I'm getting ready for spring. I'm not going anywhere. I'm at Notre Dame. And I thought it was the perfect response to the whole thing when you've got so many people. Again, it's like you wonder, if Ruggiero or whatever, had left Wake Forest last year, what would the Wake Forest uproar be, around that? I imagine there's a lot more up here around Notre Dame. So I thought it was a great response by him.
It was perfect. It spoke 1,000 words. You know what I mean? He didn't even have to say anything. It was great. It was perfect.
Yep. I agree. Michael says Tim Brown crushed Golick Jr. with everything on himself in a photo. National championship, Heisman, Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Oh, he took a picture of his shelf. And so he's here we go. Derek said he posted a pic of his Heisman and bust and said Golick can say something when he has those on his shelf.
I mean,
that's kind of the ultimate mic drop, isn't it? I mean,
to say to that at that point,
his Heisman trophy and his Hall of Fame bust. Yeah, I mean,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so with Tom Brady retiring, Dan Orlovsky gave his list of his top 5 quarterbacks of all time. He put Tom Brady at number 1, Patrick Mahomes at number 2, John Elway at number 3, Peyton Manning 4, and Dan Marino 5. So, Vince, my question is, who would be your top 5 quarterbacks of all time?
So it's funny. I read the question, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to write this down. I got to figure it out. So I just went through my head, and I just wrote down my top 5.
Right off the top of your head.
Right off the top of my head.
Okay.
And I don't have – I mean, Tom Brady obviously is not playing anymore. I don't have any current players in my top 5. Maybe that's bad.
I don't think you can. Of the guys who are currently still playing, it's not like Manning or Elway are still playing. It's like
right.
All these other guys like Aaron Rodgers, people want to talk about him. He's only got 1 championship.
Right. And that's the thing. And I don't want to harp on the championships because I do have Dan Marino in my top 5 and he doesn't have any championships. So I mean, it'd be counterintuitive of me to argue that versus whatever. But Patrick Mahomes' story is not completely written yet, right? And people are saying, if he retired today, he'd make it into the Hall of Fame. Maybe he would. He's a really good quarterback. I'm not ready to put him in the top 5 of all time, though. So my list is, honestly, it's exactly the same as Orlovsky's list, except I took out Patrick Mahomes and I put in Joe Montana. And that's my list. So it goes Brady, Montana, Elway, Manning, Marino.
Yeah, Brady, I've got Montana number 2. And I saw the whole argument that Orlovsky, I don't even really know that he justified not having Montana. It's like, how do you not go with the guy? It's like, I even flirted, with Terry Bradshaw. And now, as a pure quarterback, Terry Bradshaw is not going to match these guys. He had had a big arm and, all this different.
He won a lot of titles.
He was 4-0 in the Super Bowl as well. I think, like that carries a lot of weight. But, I went with Manning number 3 after Montana. There's just no excuse for leaving Joe Montana off the list. I'm sorry. You cannot leave Joe Montana off the list. I mean, Joe, in his mind, thinks that he's ahead of Brady. I can't go that far. I'm sorry, Joe.
I'm sure he does.
Brady number 1.
He was for a long time for me, and I held out as long as I possibly could, keeping Montana on the top. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yep. I've got Peyton at number 3, Elway at number 4, Marino at number 5. And I saw somebody saying, that Elway was overrated. I'll say this about Elway, and I could not stand Elway for the entirety of his career. My grandpa loved John Elway. I could not stand John Elway. At least my grandpa also loved Roger Staubach, so we had that. But he loved Elway, couldn't stand Elway. Now, I will say this. My stance on Elway softened a few years back when they made that 30-30 about, the whole draft process. I don't know if you've seen that. Elway to Marino.
Yes,
excellent 30 for 30. And it explains a lot, because a lot of, the reason that I hated Elway was because of his whole, I'm not going to play for the Colts and all this different stuff. And he came off as a big diva before he ever played anything, so that played into it. The thing I'll say in Elway's favor is until the end, he didn't play he didn't have Hall of Fame teammates, on the offensive side of the ball. He had some guys on the defensive side of the ball, but he didn't have a lot, like Ricky Nattil, some of these other guys.
Sure.
He didn't have a lot, especially in that late 80s, when they were getting to the Super Bowl and, getting blown out in the Super Bowl. But he didn't have Hall of Fame skill guys that he was working with really before Terrell Davis, the running back who blew out his knees, it was all said and done. So I'll give Elway credit. Like, he did a lot with very little on the offensive side of the ball in his career. Marino was just a shame. I mean, maybe the most physically gifted quarterback ever. And the fact that he only played in 1 Super Bowl is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So did you watch any of the Pro Bowl games yesterday, Vince?
No. The answer is no. I turned on ESPN at one point because I was bored, and it was like girls flag football, like high school girls flag football.
Yeah, but by the way, Jason says Vance Johnson, and he's LOLing. I don't know if he's LOLing because it's like that's who Elway was working with, but that's how I kind of take it, because Vance Johnson was, But anyway,
yes,
go ahead, Pro Bowl.
But no, I watched none of the Pro Bowl festivities. I didn't even know what channel or what time they were on, if I'm being honest. I don't. So no, I didn't.
Yeah, so I got back from the women's game and like flipped it on, and they're doing like their different events, like the crazy catch and whatever, and all these different things in the flag football games. And like, I had it on because I was like trying to.
You tried.
Yeah. And my wife was sitting there and she's like, "What is this? This is stupid."
Your wife is always the voice of reason when it comes to stuff.
Like, you're right. I will say it was no worse than an actual Pro Bowl game, like what a Pro Bowl game used to be, but it was definitely no better either. But that stadium was full, man. They sold tickets. I don't know how much they sold the tickets for, but yeah, the crazy catch was crazy. Something like that.
They just need to turn the Pro Bowl into an on-paper honor at this point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They needed like an award ceremony, like make it a TV show or something. Just,
I mean, then you don't have all the replacement players too, which is ridiculous. Did you see that Josh Allen opted out of the Pro Bowl so that he could play golf at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am? He was injured.
Like, if
Pro
that
Bowl.
doesn't tell you anything.
Right. Exactly. Like, come on. It just needs to be the guys that get it originally. You got it on paper. Congratulations. Like, we don't need the fanfare and all the nonsense.
Well, there was actually controversy at the end of the last flag football, because they played 3 different flag football games, and then they would like pause and do some more of these events, and they even had a concert. That was really when my wife was like, what is this?
What's happening?
What is this? So the NFC was winning, and inside the AFC 5-yard line at the end of the game, there's like under a minute to go or something. And they had a rule that there were no running plays allowed inside the 5-yard line because it's a flag football game. So the seconds are ticking down. Rather than risk running a play and throwing an interception, Kirk Cousins took a knee for the game's final play, and that was the end of the game. And so Peyton Manning's the AFC coach, Eli is the NFC coach. Peyton comes out and he's protesting. He's saying, well, taking a knee is a running play. So what do you think?
I mean, technically it is a running play.
I've got to agree.
It says team rush when we're
like if it's a real football game,
right?
Yeah.
It's a team rush. So it is a running play. Would I have argued it in this particular scenario? I mean, I'm just as competitive as the next guy, so the answer is probably yes. I probably would have argued it, but it's so stupid. The whole thing is just so stupid. But yes,
it's a bunch of competitive guys. Like, why don't you just take the ball and like throw it up in the air as high as you can throw
it out of the back of the end zone, or
right?
There's a million other things you could have done.
Right. Well, the change of possession. Now, I don't know exactly how much time was up, but the change of possession wouldn't have happened until the ball hit the ground, if they even stopped the clock there. So just throw it up and wait for it to come down. See if it ever comes down. We said Joe Montana. Oh, he's saying Joe Montana.
That's a Waterboy reference right there.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so Indiana students stormed the court after the Hoosiers beat #1 Purdue Saturday night. You had some of the ESPN analysts going off, criticizing storming the court. Are you good with the court storming, Vince?
1000% yes. IU sucks. Purdue is the #1 team in the country, and it's your biggest rival. You beat them. Storm the court. I have no problem with that.
And there's students.
Right.
You're going to dictate, the one thing I heard was, well, okay, Indiana, you're supposed to be the blue blood in this whole thing.
They haven't been a blue blood in forever.
Purdue's the stepbrother, but Purdue's the #1 team in the country, and you beat them on your home court. I don't have a problem with the students doing it. Like aunts and uncles and whatever. I think I'd have a bit more problem with that. But the students, go have fun. You're in college. That's what it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. If Notre Dame can storm the field when they beat Clemson, then IU can storm the field when they beat Purdue. Has IU been a blue blood basketball program for the last 10 years?
I argued last year, on my old show, that Indiana, as bad as they have been for 2 decades, basically now, that they should not be considered a blue blood anymore.
I mean,
they're not successful enough.
And there's no sign of them getting any better. I don't hate to say it because I really hate IU basketball, but Purdue has been markedly better than IU over the last couple of decades. Markedly better, with a couple of blips maybe for IU, but markedly better. So I have no problem with them storming the court. They were the underdog. They pulled off the upset.
They talk about Assembly Hall like it's some hallowed ground as well. And I think you've been there, haven't you?
I have not, actually.
Oh, I knew you went to Bloomington a couple years ago.
We did. We didn't. It was during COVID though, so they didn't let us go inside anything.
I've been in there a couple times. It's like nothing special, like none of it is just. It's like a decent gym, but I don't know. It all goes back to the glory days, basically. And those days are long gone.
Yes. And there's plenty of people out there that would say Notre Dame fans suffer the same way, that the glory days were back in the 80s and the 70s and whatever. And okay, fine. But I can tell you right now, Notre Dame football is a heck of a lot closer to a championship than IU basketball is.
Right.
So,
yeah. So, speaking of IU, do you buy or sell? First, I guess I should show this one because my hot take that IU's candy cane striped warm-up pants are stupid. And Quinn says he called his guy this week. He said he was calling a lawyer. We're getting the papers ready for you over the candy cane striped pants. Proud alum. Now, you can be an alum, Quinn. That's fine. But Are the candy cane striped pants, is that really the hill that you want to die on if you're an IU fan? Like,
those are the worst. They're the worst. I'm sorry. It's a buy or sell question, right? Am I buying or selling the candy cane
Are you
pants?
buying or selling that the candy cane striped pants are stupid?
That's a huge buy. They're stupid. I've always hated the candy cane striped pants, and it's even
Me
worse
too.
that every high school in Indiana feels like they need to replicate the candy striped pants. I don't understand it. I don't
With
like
different
it.
colors.
Yes.
It's like you got the gold and the black and the green and the white and the maroon and the white. It's like everyone, like they don't look good to begin with, and now you're putting they look like circus pants. They look like, like the tall guy on stilts, like the tall guy on stilts at the circus. That's what the candy cane striped pants remind me of.
Yes.
And that's what
terrible.
That's what you're laying your tradition on as an IU fan, right? Is the candy cane striped pants. Come on. It's not even a uniform, it's the warm-up pants.
It's just terrible. Just absolutely terrible. I'm sorry. And it shows such a lack of thought and such a lack of creativity by all these high school coaches that are like, yes, candy cane pants.
We're going to be like IU.
We're going to do it here too. I mean, and unfortunately, most of the teams that have those are just like IU. They stink. So
Tennessee creamsicle pants. Now that would be interesting.
I've
never liked them. I've never bought them. I just do not think they look good at all on basically a grown man. It would be another thing if it was a 12-year-old team or something, I guess. But
they
don't look good. Tommy wants to know if we've checked out the Savannah Bananas baseball team. Have you seen some of that stuff on social media?
Absolutely. Because I know they do like a tour and they go around. If they ever came into town, I would absolutely go watch. I think it's not what I would like to see baseball be, but I would definitely go to be entertained. It's like watching the Harlem Globetrotters is what it is. It's the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. I would absolutely go watch. I would have a good time. It would be fun, but that's not the way I want to see baseball go. Obviously, they do like banana ball, which is like over in like 2 hours.
The splits and swing from the splits.
They do all kinds of craziness, and it would be very entertaining. It would be, and you got to be really talented to be able to pull off a lot of the stuff that they do.
Kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, basically.
Exactly. Yep. And so I would go watch them, but not what I would want to see baseball go to. They're a niche.
Yeah, like Jason says, it's not baseball, but it's entertaining. That's right. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
Steve says he was a former IU coach and he hated the candy cane pants. Big ups to Steve.
From the inside, baby. I love it.
You deserve a plaid pair of pants for that. For a Bobby Knight plaid jacket from way back in the day. I don't know. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight. A lot of good stuff tonight. Covered a lot of stuff. And of course, we're going to be covering this whole offensive coordinator coaching search as long as it goes on here on the Irish Breakdown channel. So we've got a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. There's going to be multiple coaches on campus this week. I have a feeling.
Yes.
So, but we'll see how it all turns out.
It's coming. It's coming. That's right.
Yep.
I'll be interested to see who those guys are.
So big. This is such a big hire. Get it right.
It is.
Get it right.
It's huge. This is like complete reset right now.
Yeah.
With this.
This is going to shape Marcus Freeman's legacy at Notre Dame.
I agree.
I know that's big talk, but I truly believe that it is going to shape his legacy.
And that's why I would not be hanging my hat on Byron Leftwich. I'm sorry.
Or Charlie Weiss Jr. or a lot of those other people that we talked about. No. Go for the big three, baby. Go for the big three.
Yep. All right. Thanks for being here tonight. Hit the like button on your way out. If you would, we always appreciate it. It helps out the Irish Breakdown channel greatly. And hopefully more people are coming now that we've got a coaching search going on right now. So hit the like button, subscribe, rate, review, give us a 5-star rating on your podcast platform and comment and all that kind of great stuff as well. We will talk to you tomorrow on IB Nation Sports Talk.